Hello, this is Rael.
And Hathor segment L.
All right, and today we thought about talking about a special topic since this is the ending of the 11-11-11 portal. The topic today is, because I feel like, everyone's talking about this 11-11-11 portal.
Right.
All right, but they're not talking about, okay, what does it mean when we talk about the golden age? And for one, how is it going to be birthed? We always talk about, the new age is going to be birthed. Well, how is it going to be birthed? And so it's most of today's topic is about talking about spiritual parents as the ascended masters in this new golden age. And so that's what people are going to start to have their eyes open to is that now we're going to start to experience the signature of a lot of these masters who are going to come to you. And the thing is that now that veil, that layer of deception that most people are being fooled by, because you can see a lot of people that get on the internet. This is the day where anybody can get on the internet and speak as if they know something. And so it's easy to deceive people. I mean, it's almost like you can grab information from this person, and not be original and come across as a professional. And so now this age is about bringing about these true masters, right, ascended masters, right, who have become truly authentic and who have ascended in this lifetime, right? And so you're going to meet these people, and they have each masters that you meet, or gatekeepers, or spiritual parents, or what we call fathers and mothers of civilization, right? When we start to get past this idea of looking at people for the flesh that they are and the times that they live in, we'll start to see that we're going to get into this idea of reincarnation. Right. This is going to be where this energy is only going to bring about a divine remembrance of self. All right. And then as we start to apply some of these keys of wisdom, right, a lot of the upper realms are being opened. Right, because so now people can start going to these mystery schools, and that's a whole nother thing. But people are going to, it's like you're being forced to ascend, and then these teachers, all right, these ascended masters are going to be the people who initiate you, who bring you into, who bring you onto the right-handed path, right? And this right-handed path is about really learning how to merge the left and the right hemispheres of the brain. And so that comes with a little bit of experience and learning to travel. It's for you to learn how to use the left part of your brain a little bit more. But there's keys of knowledge that has to be delivered before you're able to truly merge the left and the right hemispheres of the brain, and which is to really activate that pineal gland. And it's a science to this. So there's a lot of people out there saying they can activate, they can do all these type of things, but
are they third eyes open?
No, it's deeper than that. It's much deeper than that, because once you get these keys of knowledge, right, it's really about learning what immortality is. And this is really getting into the I know people hate talking about the Bible, right? But this is really us getting back into us learning how to ascend out of this world and not die.
That's what really the Bible was all about. The Bible is a cult anyway. The Bible is not really all of what it says it is, but there are real people that were in the Bible, and then there are allegory shit that's going on that is dealing with the cult. But it was always about, the Messiah being an example of how to reach ascension, basically. So that's what we're doing, is that there's a new Bible being rewritten. Right now, what Rob was even saying with the 11-11-11 portal is dealing with heavenly energy coming on the people. Different frequencies bring in different things, like 3-3, 2-2. All of those deal with different frequencies, but with 11-11, that's a master number. It's a master teaching number.
It's like a deep signature. So when you look at that 11-11-11 signature, when we get into this whole idea of light and dark forces, or we get into the idea where we have energetic moments in time where a certain frequency sets the standards. And so let's say if you're someone who wanted to change this timeline, you would have had to do it before that 11-11-11 portal. Why? Because as this new energy brings things into motion, it sets things into a upper echelon. So a lot of people it was almost like people were making their decisions as that 11-11-11 portal came. And then now we're as this month end, we kind of see what direction our decisions is taking us. And for some people, and for most people, the people who are expanding, it's about having those new experiences. It's about opening up yourself to have a new reality, because the thing is that the old reality that a lot of us have is it's almost like it's dying. There's nothing that you can, squeeze out of it. And so there has to be new players to the game. There has to be, sacrifices made, because the idea is that we are a soul first. And this is when we start to learn about unconditional love, and we start to understand that our love transcends time, it transcends boundaries. It's what holds us together. But in this reality, a lot of us are stuck together because the work situation, as far as how karma, right? It doesn't allow you to go too far from what your responsibilities are. And so that's what this 11-11-11 is up. It's really to give everybody the experiences they need so that their soul, right? Their soul can fully come online, and that their soul can ascend, right? And that's the idea. It's like that's one concept. Right. This is an idea of a holy trinity, that once we learn to recover our soul, right? Once we learn to master our spirit, which represents our energy, and then once we understand to master our body, to learn how to sustain it, right? This is when we learn to become immortals, right? And this is when we're talking about living to long ages, right? When we learn to secrete this fluid, this secretion that comes from the pineal gland. Right. This was the secret that they hid from all the people, especially from melanated people. They hid the secret. All right. And so this secret is now going to be kind of ushered back on. This is the whole idea of Christ consciousness. And so when we live now today, the reason why, all right, we age, right, is because a part of us, the part of us that is real, that is not really physical, that is actually spiritual, is dead. Right. So when we're outside, guess what's happening? And most people are just driving. They're not interacting. They're not engaging people. They're not connecting with people. They're not connecting with the earth. Right. These are all aspects of self that once you learn to sustain and use your resources, you become resourceful. But there's something that happens inside of you. Right. And that thing that happens inside of you is that your body stops decaying. Why? Because in this reality, we're programmed to give our energy away. We go to work, that means we gave our energy away that day. We ate this food, right? Or we're watching this, we're giving our energy away. And so once we learn to take back, all right, that's the idea of taking back life. Like life has been taken away from people. And so 5 years from now, they'll look older, all right? Another 5 years older. Why? Because every day they're on the cycle, they're on the wheel, and they're going and going and going and going.
I see what's going on more with the collective is a lot of people are holding on to old baggage, like really holding on to people, holding on to things, holding on to jobs that are really creating a block for no ascension. I've been looking at like ascension charts all damn day. I've been doing ascension charts on my family members and looking at their blocks and where they're at and why they didn't make their jumps. And it's a lot of holding on to bad things or really not changing the way, or really, this is my thing when we get into parenting and spiritual parents, is that a lot of people are missing their jumps, or the children are not getting what they need. Like I was looking at my nephew, and there were some things that was missing from him that he was supposed to get. Like, for example, some children and their people in their ascension charts, if they don't get the structure that they need, then they can't make it into the second expansion. They can't go into that cycle because they'll get stuck. And this is what these portals are. This portal is for you to get through the gateway, or you can get stuck in one mode of being. So I'm seeing that my nephew could actually be an actor. He can be a creative force, but because he didn't get the structure that he needed, and some karma from, his mother, he's stuck. So it's just like, what if he had spiritual parents? And what if a lot of people, even myself, I'm thankful that Rael did come into my life, because sometimes you need these spiritual parents. You need these people that you can talk to on a spiritual level. What if your parents grew you up as a Mormon, or you grew up as Baptist or Christian? Usually these children don't get to express themselves spiritually until they get into college. And that's when they start to question things. what about when they're younger, when you need those they hit those milestones, and you should be building them up and giving them what they need, because tribal, more people in the over in the East, they set that up where their children, they know their children, they go to elders, they go to these people, and they figure out what does my child need, because this child may be an ancestor, this child may be this or that.
Oh yeah. And this is what we have to realize, is that this world is so, it has so much mystery to it. Sometimes we look at our parents, we look at our life, and we think that this is the way we set it up. And sometimes you realize you come into a life where your parents may only be your physical parents. They gave you the content, they gave you the vessel. You chose the looks. You said, oh, she has a nice body. My dad is tall. I want him. And so some people have made those choices where they probably had some messed up parents, but guess what? They got a great body. Right. So think about this from a soul point of view. Right. And so you got this body, but you had to endure some hardships. But guess what? You got this body. Right? So now they brought you into this world. Now you may find these spiritual parents, right? And these spiritual parents are there strictly to raise your spirit to the point where that everything you couldn't get from your mother or your father, all right, you were able to get from these people. And everyone is not called to be your spiritual parent. The church, the pastor, a lot of people looked at him as a father, but he may not be the father figure that you need, that's going to raise you up, that as an authority figure or someone you highly respect, that you're going to get wise counsel from. And that's what we want. Or sometimes your mother, when you can say, hey, I need a mother's opinion and I'm experiencing these things. Can you help me? Right. All right. And so there's people that it's just like when you look at an internet, right? And we look at when we go to a certain page, there's servers for that page, right? There's things to serve the page, right? And so that's what those spiritual parents are, that when we are going into that reality, they're there to serve that light, serve that knowledge, to give you that information that you typically wouldn't get from anyone. And it's soul knowledge. It's not just typical. We live in an information age now. So you can Google everything. Right. You can get everything. So it's not about information. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. It's about your soul coming online. It's about that thing, that one thing you've been wanting to do, right? Every time you talk about it, it usually requires you leaving work, going somewhere, doing something totally radical differently, because most people are not in love with the jobs that they have. Most people are in love with the idea that they would like to create, but yet it's hard to go for that thing. And so that's where you have these parents who are there to help you see and to make sure that when you are going for that thing, that make sure that your mind and your spirit is aligned, because sometimes you could be going for a fantasy, you know, something that's been created out of this world. And so once these parents help strip you down and let you know that, hey, this is incorrect, that's incorrect, you know, and that's if you're okay with that. A lot of people are not, okay with
I know there's sometimes where we will give some advice and then you just learn to not. Sometimes to just watch and just let those let those people go their route, go the way that they have to go. And that's even in the play of a lot of mothers get trapped in the mother role, where we play the mother archetype too much, and we don't know how to play goddess to our children. We want to protect our children. We say, I don't want them to go through anything that I went through, but you don't look at what you went through actually built you up. So a lot of times when these mothers, where you're staying in that archetype, that's something that your child doesn't need. Your child actually needs you to play goddess. So they may have to seek a spiritual mother that will tell them, hey, I had to tell one girl, hey, what you're projecting right now is just sex. What do you want? You want more than that? And I'm sure her mama not telling her that. Maybe her mama think it's cute, but it was just a point where I had to deliver a message that I didn't want to. And if you want my honest opinion, or you want that truth, I'm going to give it to you. And it may not be always what you want to hear.
And you'll get that from a Scorpio. They'll give you that thing right down the pipe. And that's what you want. You want people to give you that hard truth, because if you're not feeling it, then it penetrate.
Right.
It's bouncing right back. You're deflecting it. Right. But you need those people. And the thing is that you have people in your life that's already programmed in your DNA to meet you at a certain time that you would be most receptive of that information. And so a lot of this stuff is already pre-written. You just have to realize to go with the plan and go with this plan to make you a better person, because you're not going to do it. You can only get so far when you look in the mirror. But guess what? Somebody else with new eyes and a different point of view can probably see some things that you can't see.
Right.
And that's the thing that we got to rely upon, which is trust. And, everyone's working on this. This is hard, man. This reality, a lot of us have been hurt. It's hard to open up, this part of us that's vulnerable, that if we open up, that somebody may embarrass me or say something or hold something against me. Criticism. A
lot of people can't take criticism.
But this is the part of you that you have to learn to become vulnerable. That part of you is still the child. The child that, oh, no, don't say I can't take. It's like you have to have someone that's willing to, that cultivate you, even spar with you, because most men or partners are not going to be able to say, all right, now stop now. Tell me, what did you learn? Right? That's not going to happen. Right? You're not going to have that many massive people unless they can understand that when these moments come, and can stop you. And if you're okay and got your ego under control, right, then you can usually talk about the little things and sometimes the point of view that we could have wrong. And usually it's just a misunderstanding. And so, we all have to get ourselves to a level of a better way to communicate.
They're definitely taking in different perspectives, taking in that criticism, and not seen as that person trying to pick you apart. It's very hard. That's something that we always talk about in our relationship, and also when you talk to children about things that they're doing. Don't be afraid to tell them and give them some type of criticism, because they're going to have to go through that all their lives. And it has to be known that sometimes you have to slap the hand and then pat the head sometimes to let them know, hey, I don't like what you're doing. I don't like this or that, but I do love this about you. Point out the good and bad for them, especially with boys. They need that.
Yes,
they need that. But it's just, I think a lot of parents are not cultivating their children spiritually right now. What you're hearing in Baltimore, all the children over in East Baltimore, like prestigious high schools like Poly, these kids are hitting the teachers. They're doing stuff to the cafeteria aides. Like, there's some chaos. You don't think that these children are not feeling this energy? They don't know what to do with this energy, so they're actually going dark and taking in too much. And just to kind
of talk about this 11-11-11 vibration as an energy, this is the high frequency type of energy, and so this energy itself is the flood. Right, the flood is the flood of emotions. We've gotten a lot of talks, a lot of messages from a lot of people who are emotionally suffering. Right, that means that the frequency is up so high, you being flooded, where you have to find a vessel. You have to find a Noah's Ark. You have to find a place where you can seek refuge and get guidance. And a lot of people are going to be pushed to these spiritual fathers, because this is what's going to help birth the age. People are not going to just birth themselves. It's going to be somebody there helping to bring you up. And guess what? If we understand that the idea of physics, it's the sun that raised things up. So now you're talking about a father figure. And a lot of people are going to have that type of energy that's around you. And, it's up to you to go and drink. It's up to you to go and seek. It's like someone can't keep knocking on your door and say, hey, what's going to happen is that energy, that all you got, that energy to keep going, eventually you're going to get tired as hell. And eventually you're going to give it a rest. Your body is going to start to go through physical sickness and all type of things, because you right now the frequency is so high that when you're not in purpose, you're giving away energy, and you're going to feel it. So now this age is, we have to learn to live by divine principles. Right, and so that's why you have to seek a lot of these ascended masters, because if you do not know the divine laws at which we're living by, the new frequency and how to navigate and not accrue karma, because karma is the thing that's going to set your ass back. It's going to set you back. Once you do that wrong, you're going to experience almost like a loop. It's going to put you back in that loop to do a repeat, and you may do it with someone else, or you may have something on the flip side, equal it out, so you can go ahead and do this linear thing again and see if you can get it right with someone else. Right? But the vertical ascension, right, is when you're going to do something totally new, and it is usually something inward. Right, it's something inward that really activates your heart, and that's what a lot of us got to figure out. What is going to be that thing that gives me passion, because this passion has got to last me 29 years. It's got to last me that long. So what's going to sustain me? This is why a lot of folks are going to start making this tough decision, because after this, as we go into motion in this age of Aquarius, we're going to set into this orbit where once you make that decision, now you got to see it through.
That's so funny that you're talking about the heart and just dealing with that. I was just seeing that on YouTube about that this is a heart chakra purpose age where people are going to be in their purpose and how the earth is moving on to that fifth dimension. We're already in the fifth dimension, and it's really earth is already there, and she's just waiting for the people to catch up with her. And with this, the whole thing with the parents, the spiritual parents, it's more so, it's just finding the right people that you resonate with to help you to get through some shit, because it's going to be heavy, especially with 2019 and this energy coming in. It's going to be an energetic year. Well,
what's going to happen is, and this is what's been happening, is that we're going to become aware of entities, demonic presence, right? We're going to start to understand that the body is a vessel and that the soul does not always occupy the body. Your consciousness is not always inside this body. Let's get that straight and clear. You're not always in here. Sometimes your ass be out in space, and then you come present back into your body and into your senses.
Especially when you're dreaming.
When you dream, you leave the body, you go to different realms, right? People are going to start getting real familiar with this, right? And then what you're going to start getting noticed to, I'm giving you the steps, right? Folks are going to start to pay attention to the eyes, because then you're going to see when people start to shift into these different archetypes and different personalities, you're going to see that the eyes become totally different.
The eyes are coming. People's eyes are changing. People's pupils are changing to more of a square. People's eyes are changing, and it shows you what family they come from, if they're from Earth or if they're not, because there are people here that are not really from Earth. I've been very emotional. That's probably the energies coming in. This energy has been very heavy. A lot of people are feeling drained. A lot of people are feeling emotional. Yeah. And there's some things, could be possibly some blocks that are going on that need to be released.
Well, the heart is that sometimes when we're not living in our purpose and we're not living in our highest light, because this is about finding your highest light. That means that you've had this time from 2016. Right, and 2016 was about self-mastery, right? Then 2017 was about your identity. So this has been a stepping type of, like a stair type, you're climbing these steps. And so as the year turned, just imagine the water going.
It's coming up.
It's coming up. But you ain't moved. You're still doing the same thing, but the water's up, right? And so this is where your heart is not above water, right? It means that you're still doing things that's taken away from your life force. It's taken away from your emotions, because guess what? You don't get to do what you want to do, which is be happy. That's what you're supposed to be doing, happy. But this is the world that wants to restrict that. It wants to keep that away from you. And so this is when they say, hey, you got to figure out who's going to be your master, right? Who going to feed you? You're going to eat from this hand or this hand, right? And so if you're going to eat from this hand, guess what? You're going to give up your life force. You're going to give up that. But if you eat from this hand, this hand will sustain you. So that's what the decision for most people is going to come to, and we're all going to come to that. Now, the next thing is that if you haven't found your light, if you haven't found it, you got to find your boat. You got to find your arc. It's that simple. It's not a thing where folks are forcing you to do anything. This is all where, if you at a certain age, it's almost like there's certain numbers that when you hit it, it's like 11, 22, 33 master numbers. When those numbers come, know that you have to make a serious decision.
Do you want to get into the classes that we're going to be offering?
Yes. All right. The classes is this is the new consciousness that people keep talking about. Right. This is how you learn to stop the cycle. Right, within the cycles, right? Because when we look at cycles start as patterns first, and patterns start as repeated actions that goes to certain places, right? So we get caught up in that cycle. Once you learn the all-seeing eye, what happens is you learn to decode, right? People and situations that normally, if you did not know this understanding, it would be a block for you. You wouldn't be able to understand a person. You probably would be caught up in your emotions, and you wouldn't know how to release the will, right? Meaning that sometimes when you're connected with people, right? The polarity. When we talk about wheels, you ever see like a magnet and you see it like the wheel, right? You see it shaking, right? That's what it is. It's magnetic, and these attractions. It's something's trying to pull you, right? And so what you have to do is you have to learn to release. And so this is the idea that when you get into a lot of the studies of religion, detachment is something you have to learn. Yes, and detachment says that I know how to let go of this relationship. I know how to let go of the past. I know how to let go of money. I know how to be nothing, right? And so that nothing is that when we go to that 0 point, that 0 point is where we now are in the round table, right? We're sitting with the round table. We're conversing with ourself. Ourself is trying to connect with all type of angelics, you know. It's trying to connect with those
ancestors.
Yeah, and that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get the highest guidance so that when it's time to make that decision, right, you make the right decision, because when these people show up in your life, they're portals. And let's say we all thought about a certain time when we were 19 and we may have chose this person instead of that person. And because we chose this person, God damn it, I had a shitty life. It's like you got a bad hand, right?
I had 11 years of a shitty life.
You be thinking back like, damn, why didn't I choose the right hand? Shit, right? You be mad as hell, right? And so that's what happens is that as you navigate through life, there's certain times you have to jump through these portals, or you may have to release from something to go through another gate or another portal, because, you know, doors don't open doors. Doormen open doors. So people open doors for you. So people are doors for you. All right. And so when they show up,
and you can have several doors at one time, and they just you got to choose the right one. And that's where we come in.
That's where we
spiritual parents.
That's where we
come in, and we tell you which door to choose. And it may not be the door that you want to choose. But we can tell you, hey, he's the right guy.
That's how you do it.
That one.
And you find true love, because the idea is, let's say it's like this the idea of a quantum world. You say, I want a man, I want true love. Give me true love. And guess what the universe do? It showed you 6 men. Right? He shows you like, goddamn, 6 of them showed up. What the fuck do I do? Oh, I like him. He look good. He got muscle. Oh, look at him. He got money. Oh, he ain't really shit, but we get along. We talk, you know what I'm saying? But he ain't really got money, right? If I get with him, he may have to be a project. I ain't have to work. I ain't trying to do that. I like him because he got a house. He ambitious, right? And so all them 6 people, and you got to make a decision.
Right.
And most people making decisions with their head and their heart. And God says, well, if you want my riches, you too are going to start from the bottom up, right? Because the things you build together, it tends to stay together, right? And so most people don't want to build together. People want somebody with the condo, the badass condo. Like, damn, you want all that?
And he could be the one abusing you.
And he the one saying, well, if you want my money, you got to take a punch. You know what I'm saying? You can take a punch, you can be with me, right? And so you pick the wrong one, and then we think about the next 5-6 years, because guess what? Buddy. You probably had a kid with him, got a note with him, you got all these strings and cords attached where you can't leave, and you feel like you can't go because now you got a job over here, and your parents looking at you, they looking at you saying the bitch thinks you're bad because they got a house and a man now, right? You got your friends saying that to you because they didn't left you. And so now it's hard to just jump onto something new because you made that decision. And this nigga done chased all the women and people out of your life. Like, wow, right? So it's like, when you learn the all-seeing eye, this is how you beat the quantum reality. Right. Is by being a pure observer.
Or you find spiritual teachers that can help you through these situations, because I wish that I had myself right now when I was younger and I was choosing, where I had like 3 guys in front of me proposing, and I'm like, I want the dumb one.
Oh, they all want me. And the astrology, your marriage house didn't open. You know, people looking at you like you are.
And that's another thing.
Your marriage house, everybody.
People don't even know when your marriage. You really need to know when your marriage house is open. That's what, the 7th house, and that's usually that. You have a time period when it closes and when it opens. For me, when I was going to the guy that was my astrologer, I waited 3 years for him to show up. He was telling me 3 years. he's coming. And he was popping up in all of my children's astrology. And I'm like, I'm bringing guys to him. Like, is this the one? That he's like, nah, that ain't the one. Like, is this the one? So I waited 3 years for my marriage house to open up and him to pop up in there, because I had to manifest him, because my marriage house was empty.
Mine's is too.
It was empty, so I had to manifest this shit. So I had to manifest.
And what it means is that when you see an empty marriage, it means that you've already, you've mastered that. And so this is in this lifetime, right? Those empty houses that you have in astrology, you mastered them. And so those are some of the areas where you can wish and you can manifest certain things. And so we understand this parallel realities, and that we're living in a reality where I can come into her world, and that's a whole different thing. We're not going to get into that. But that's the idea, is that when you take the class, it's about making the right decisions, and all of your life is going to be about making the right decisions. And guess who's going to be between you and the right decision? A damn person, to most times, right? And you can be like, God, I should have never did. He ripped my ass off. What? I should have noticed that. I saw it on his face, and he kept twitching, and I didn't see it.
But everything is set up and everything is contractual. Even your parents are a contract that you wrote up in heaven, that you wanted these parents, or you wanted to experience these things. The good and bad and the ugly that your parents bring you, you signed up for it. Even if you say, hey, I want this DNA, I want to look like this, but this is not going to be my daddy. But I do want to look like him, but I want my stepfather, or I want my stepmother to raise me, or I want just my dad to raise me because he has more structure, and mommy is a little bit too wild for me. And I need the structure because this is what I came and I set up for my blueprint to do. That could actually happen where people think that, hey, I got to live this certain way, but you don't. Even some women who believe that they are supposed to be with a man. Some women, you are actually a past life nun.
Yeah, a lot of
presently women should be a nun and doing work and service.
Or some women where people don't understand they were mistresses or concubines, things like that.
And they still have that energy.
And the thing was that these women were just they knew that it wasn't meant for them to be in the type of relationship where you're together like that.
And not everybody's meant to have children. I think I told this one girl, one lady, about abortion and miscarriage. It's contractual. It's mutual. In a way, with the miscarriage, the child is saying, I don't think this is right. I don't want to come yet, or I don't think you're the right mother. With the abortion, of course, the mother is saying that I don't want to do this. I don't want to fulfill this contract. Both sides have to understand that this is something that is a choice in spirit. The child usually knows, and maybe the child will go back into the spiritual realm and wait around. And the mother has a choice, and the child also has a choice. And sometimes women, like you see Gabrielle Union, these people that are trying and pushing it, it may be in their chart, in the central chart of what they set up, that they're not supposed to have children, that they're here to do some type of self-mastery work. They're here to be a guru or something. So you really
for some
don't
people,
know.
it was a curse. Their ass don't deserve to have no damn
You don't
kid.
deserve it. And nobody sees you fit to be a mother.
Yeah, there's a lot of people are selfish. They don't deserve to have children, so they're doing everything in their power to have one. So I'm glad that she has one now. I don't want to be like a bad person. I'm glad that she got the chance to be a mother.
Right.
That's a great experience to be able to have that this lifetime. Being a mother and a father is one of the greatest experience you can have as a human being. I don't give it even greater than the king himself. Right. So that's how high it is of being a mother and a father. I just think that we have watered down the idea of parents, because parents got to work all the time. They don't get to be home. Right. They don't get to be the greatest heroes that they used to be when they were home all the time. Right. Now when parents come home, you be hoping they have groceries, and that's what the kids, they look at us like they got groceries, or can I get something? And you be like, damn, that's what I created. They all they want is something. They just want something, right? So, I'm doing a whole different topic right now.
I think we just go with the flow of it. But let's go into dream interpretation. Anybody having dreams? Yeah. I know that my son, he just had a dream. And one part of his dream is that he saw the teacher turn into a demon. And then as she turned into a demon, she came down the steps and was attacking the children. So with that dream, I'm seeing that most times that, You want to go?
Well, it's that
You ready to jump
it's that
on
folks
it.
think that children are crazy and children are not. You know,
Right.
it's that we have to know that they're more sensitive to that reality than most adults who are kind of dead. You know, they're dead. They're dead in spirit. They can't go there. They don't dream there. They're exhausted all the time. So most of them probably don't even travel outside the body. All right, but children, they have so much energy and they attract so many different beings.
Yeah.
And when children, you know, when they go to sleep, most of them are so connected to that world that most entities know. And so since they know that they can contact these people, great, they want to share light and take light from them. And so it's the TV shows, school, bullying, all
There's
that.
a lot of bullying going on.
It's so much that you have to protect your child from. And it's not saying that, hey, you want him to be, you know, almost, you know, sheltered, because you do want him to get that experience. You do want your boy to become an alpha. You do want him to even engage in some conflict out there. You want him to have experience in those areas. And when they come home, you coach, you talk to them, and you make sure that they are standing up for themselves, because these are things in life that we have to learn, because this is a jungle out there with houses and condos and schools, but it's really a jungle out there with all type of species and people that are crazy. All right, there's some people who are intelligent, there's most people who are crazy. So, but you still want your child to get that experience. But this reality is that you're playing with this world. Either your child can make themselves and acquire a stronger spirit, right? Or they can lose their spirit and have one that's overpowered by darkness, right? Where now when they go to sleep they're naturally going to the lower realms, and they're being hunted and tormented because no one is bringing forth any light so that they can live in their dreams and create and be happy when they get up and create. But most people are afraid to create, so guess what? They mostly are frozen and scared, and they don't make anything happen.
I say definitely get your children into spiritual practices. Like, I don't know who you pray to or how you pray, but definitely get your children into doing stuff when they wake up in the morning, having some type of morale and having some type of spiritual purpose of why they do things, even some tools to use. Like, teach them how to sage, teach them about different herbs, teach them about these things, because they're going to need it right now for their own protection. So I say pray over them. Put stones. I just told one sister to put an angel light underneath their pillow, or amethyst, something that helps them with their crown chakra, something that helps them with protection, like the angel light, or obsidian, tourmaline, anything that helps them, that can keep them protected and actually feel safe, and they know that they're doing some type of spiritual practice with you, and you care, because most of the times parents are at work. They're not really knowing what's spiritually going on with their children. They don't even really know what's physically and emotionally going on with their children, nor do they really have the time. So when y'all come home, it has to be something almost like a ritual for things that you do. And as what we call doing our coaching, which I wanted to get into, is that we want to be able to provide people with one-on-one coaching where we can help you with parenting things. We can help you with dreams. We can help you with meditation.
And I think that the dream world is more important than you realize. Until you learn to navigate that invisible plane. And if you ever seen certain movies, I'll even throw up a movie, you know, I like to give examples. Indiana Jones, the first one, where he has the Holy Grail and he has to walk across the invisible bridge. Right, that invisible bridge is the dream world. Right, it's not really here. It doesn't exist, but it does exist. So you have to learn how to navigate spirit, and then what happens is that you initiate it. You keep being initiated into higher degrees of spirituality. And so this is something that happens between you and your soul. Your soul is the one that starts to filter that information that's specific to you and that's authentic to your learning. So it's like, you know, that's what we have to get to. It is a cult. It is hidden. And it's a hidden reality that's above this reality. So as this world shifts, we're starting to go into that 11, that high frequency vibration that's meant to usher in these teachers that can help anchor down this golden age. Because it can't be a golden age with the same old teachers, right? Right. It's
the same old shit.
No, you can't have the same old Valentines and the brother panics and all of the no. They did what they can do. Right. And so now it's about bringing in the home run hitters, right? Creator says, all right, I got some home run hitters. He gonna hit in, he gonna knock everybody in right there. Him right there. Give him, hit him up the bat. He's going to knock him in. That's what's happening right now. There's a lot of people that's meant to bring you home. Right. So when you learn to master your heart and you learn to walk on this earth as a goddess, right? It's a difference. I'm not saying just walk. I'm saying walk with a certain dignity and a prestige and a certain virtue that only you got. Why? Because there's something you know about the other person that allows you to have a certain class about yourself, right? A certain pedigree, a certain understanding that you naturally don't engage in bullshit. So you can say you're royalty, right? Right? Everybody can be royalty, right? So we're learning to walk in a different way and learning to communicate in our neighbors with a sense of harmony.
Birthing a new consciousness, and that's what it's all about, is birthing this new consciousness so people can evolve, so we can make more children that are without karma, children with a higher consciousness.
And that's the idea. And she hit it right on the button. We've talked about it before, is that now when we create children, there's too many people are fucked up in this world. People right? You will go fucked up fucking with them, right?
Right.
So it's like now is that women, right? This is something when
women are being called.
The women are being called, right?
More women are being called.
That you're going to have to become more conscious of the type of seed you're putting in you, right? We can say, oh, he didn't. No, you are a temple, right? You bring things in this world, right? And when things go out of this world, a woman will be the first thing they see, right? So that idea is that what's in heaven is also down on earth. It will be the same. So you have to learn to realize that, you know, and I'm gonna bring up the story. I dated a girl from Kenya a long time ago, and it was a cool experience because what she told me was that a lot of the women would marry that one chief. And the reason why they would be with that chief and he would have different wives is because they would hope that they could have his seed and that his child, since it would be filled with his knowledge, wisdom, and all of that stuff he got, that child would go out in the world and bring home back the bacon, bring the money back to mom, right? And so that's how she was like, she was bringing, if she was going to create, she was going to create with something that was great, that can change her and make it work for her.
And that's where a lot of mothers are not thinking about, especially single mothers, is that you have to think about what are you choosing for your children. You can't just choose for you. You have to choose for your children. If you have children and you are single and you are looking for a man, or even a man who is single and he has the children, you are not just choosing for yourself, you are choosing for your children. So you have to be definitely mindful of who you choose. And then also, not only that, if you decide that you want to have more children with this man, you're going to have to figure that out and know that you want to find somebody that is on that level, that's not going to create a dummy, because two dummies can definitely create a dummy. Exactly.
And so that's one degree of love, right? Where it's conditional. You may find someone and you may try to do some things with that person, and there are even higher degrees of light that you can accumulate, or what I like to say, bring to the altar, because this is all about you manifesting the life that you want, right? And so what that means is that you need a big favor from the Creator. You want one from the big rig, right? Right. So what you got to do is that in this art of manifestation, you need to understand that sacrifice. It has to be something brought to the table, right? Something you're willing to say, this is a creation for the world and not just myself. And so this is another level when I talk about unconditional service, right? That's a whole different thing, that when that Messiah came onto the planet, or certain type of energies, right, he was there to bring forth a new age, bringing forth brighter, enlightened children.
My teeth crumbled like twice. Well, with your teeth crumbling, anything dealing with the teeth is you growing up. So if you have a dream about your teeth falling out or your teeth crumbling, it's meaning that you're growing up. You're going into another phase, and it's going to happen quickly, especially with your teeth crumbling. Twice. It's giving you a signal. It's time to move on. You got to level up. And we definitely will get into that with you tomorrow.
And that's another thing, because folks who want to get into business, right? When you look at what makes you attractive, that's not just a physical thing. That can be a spiritual thing. I've seen even big dudes, for some reason, they just got the attraction. They just, right? Even big girls, certain girls, they can be so charming that they got a certain energy about them. It's that essence, right? So sometimes you have a light within you that if you're not using your light right, then guess what? Things can be redeemed and given to someone else. So it's like we Let me stop.
Why are you stopping?
Because I feel like I'm going on and on, right?
Oh,
I want to stop because if you could understand that there's a science to this, like there's a science that once you want to be an unconditional servant, there's ways you can go about doing things, but you have to sacrifice. And I think that many people don't understand that art. And when we look at the elites, right, they kill
for
to bring forth the manifestation. That's not the only way to sacrifice, to manifest, right? There's a positive way. There's a positive polarity to this, right? But many people don't know how to do it, right? Just like people don't even know how to ascend. And I'm talking about it because this is something we're going to do. It's going to happen. I promise you, right? So I'm just kind of, bringing this information out that there's degrees to this. And for those people who plan for the marbles and who putting all bets on themselves, it's a riddle, and that's why I got to be quiet about it.
Before we get off, we are going to be introducing our classes, and it's not more so for classes. One is going to be a group session where you pay $20 a month, and we'll do something once a week. It's more than likely going to be on Thursday at 7 p.m. And we just get in and we have discussions and we do meditation, and it almost is like an online meetup group where you'll just be in there and we'll be doing one-on-one sessions with everyone. Well, not one-on-one, but more so a group dialogue because it's going to be on Zoom and it's going to be a video
bringing up
chat.
some things that for me, I don't even talk about it in public because most people are not even ready to kind of go to that level. But there's different degrees of knowledge that once you start to understand the dimensions that how this world works, and you start to see what's happening behind the screen, and you see who's pulling the hands and what's moving this over here, then you know how to kind of go about this world, and you have the confidence, right? To have the confidence that somebody, something, some hand, some energy is doing something. There's some puppeteer that's doing something. I'm sorry about that. But there's something that's moving the strings, right? And so once you know how to play the role right, then that's when the rewards start to come.
And now, and we're also going to do one-on-one sessions, and that'll be a price where we'll work with you for a month.
One flat price.
And we'll meet up with you probably like twice a week and talk about what's going on with you, whatever's going on with you. We help you and guide you through any situation, parenting and everything else like that.
Even looking at
astrology,
see what's happening, what's in the houses,
helping you meditate, whatever you are needing spiritually, we will be providing that service. And of course, the all-seeing eye, which is always
you gotta take that.
Go to.
I'm telling you, you're gonna wonder when they talk about going into this new age that is the seal. It's a seal. I'm playing. They keep telling you about 2020, and it's crazy that most astrologers are talking about 2020, that this new consciousness is going to be birthed. You guys, you women, right? Because usually guys, I have issues with guys, but you women are at the very birthing of it. Y'all at the very beginning, it's very small, right? But this will be worldwide. I promise you. Right? I'm not a liar, right? I promise you. Right? It's going to be. So why? Because it's a holy understanding. It is sacred.
And I don't back no bullshit.
It's sacred. And when you do this thing activates this thing permanently. And you start to learn to secrete a fluid that when you drink it from your pineal gland, which is the elixir, you're able to stay younger. And right
yeah, Trina was back then when we was doing the Eggert. She was at one of our Eggert classes.
Yes, she was there. And that's the idea, is that it's when people think about meditation, that, meditation, but everybody meditate, right? So what's the opposite of meditate? Being, what would you call an experienced observer. And we always talk about it. It's always talked about, you have to become the observer. Become the observer. What the hell does it mean, right? I'm telling anybody can watch, but when you're actively looking at details, you become an expert observer. All right. So that's the level that we get to. Once we learn how to see right, it's just like driving. You don't want to be a driver who always see the damn the stoplights late. You would hit somebody, right?
Yeah.
We want to see the damn stoplight go from green, yellow to red, right?
Michelle Obama definitely got some shit with her. You see what Nas wrote? Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people think that they know celebrities, but when you know the all-seeing eye, you almost have the inside game. Like, nah, she ain't like that.
She ain't like that. She like this.
She passive aggressive. She's this. She's that. And you really see real truth where you can actually be neutral to the shit that people have and what's going on with them. It's like this little.
It's a
the
video.
whole everything that I know.
People put on the face.
I could be nosy without being just low key nosy.
Switch up on your ass, right? So you got to know how to see things. And when people switching up on you, you got to be somebody says, no, I got my hand on the point, nigga. I know what you look like. You can't switch up on me, right? And if they do switch up on you, you got a measure, a sense of measurement to see exactly how much they switched up on you, right? So that's the idea, is that most people don't have that natural lie detector, that natural filter that when you see something happening, you saw it from beginning to end, you saw it tick-tock, boom, you saw everything.
The goal for the one-on-one classes is for us to really help you reach your fullest potential. And we know that it's not just going to happen overnight. We know that it's not just going to happen with the all CNI classes. That's
12 classes long.
That's an intro to it where you'll really get to know us. But these one-on-one sessions will kind of come from not just the all CNI. It'll be more so what's going on with you and how can we get you onto your purpose? How can we get you on your path of being your best you? Because I guarantee a lot of people are not exactly at the right place that they should be in.
And I'll just put it this way, before we talk any further, you wonder how people are highly favored, right? Sometimes in this reality, it's not all about your situation. Sometimes it be about that moment in time when you needed favor. So that's what we're coming into, is that some of you are being put into a position to be highly favored in this reality. And so when you have a certain key of understanding that allows you to inside, right, you know how to become a user, or I hate to say it that way, a player in this game. You know how to.
You on the board.
You on the chessboard. You know how to play the game. You know how to move. You know how to stay put. Right. You're not moved by the frequency. Now you can work with the frequency. Right. And then there's the other people who are caught up in the program and the frequency, the collective frequency. You're not one of them. You now have evolved out of the box. Right. So that's what I got to say. I don't want to keep saying. Sometimes I can teach all night. Sorry.
Well, the prices and everything will be up. The group sessions will be only $20 a month, but it'll be something where we go into some deeper discussions and even doing meditation and doing some things with people just to help them to kind of like jump into this and really get into it and start your spiritual practices, because sometimes you just really don't have the schedule. And
sometimes you need a community. You need a group of people
that are doing the same thing.
That's why most people can't stay the course. They're like, man, I can't jump on the path, man. This shit is lonely, man. Why I want to be on the path by myself?
You need to hear other people.
I don't want to be on the path by myself. I want to be with somebody, right? Most people want that, and so it's hard to establish that group of people that can really, really, help you, and that's what's needed.
I think that's it. Are you done?
I'm done.
Are you done?
I'm done.
You finished?
Yes, I'm finished. Anyway.
I don't know if y'all have any more questions, but we were saying that we were not going to go on this long, but we usually do. So it is
because we love y'all so much. We really do. All 5 of the people that I'm seeing as viewing, I love all of y'all, and all the other people out there in TV land.
All right, bye. Bye. So if you want to inbox us about any ascension charts, compatibility, if you want to take the classes, just inbox us. We're easy to access for now. So definitely get up with us, and whoever it does have a reading, we look forward to meeting you and talking with you.
I want to meet you, man. I've been in the background for so long. Like, you would think I'm like Ike Turner in my damn life. I've been back in my whole life playing the bass line. Like, shit, everybody been singing and dancing. I've been playing the bass line. Shit, I'm ready to see some people. so shit. Yeah, that's
oh my God. Bye. It's time to go.
See y'all. All right. Peace out.
All right. Why are you so crazy?
Look, I'm still smiling.